A former beauty queen, a bitter divorce, and 2 words on a phone screen that a judge says could send her to prison for 60 years. This is the story of Lindsay Shiver, a woman who went from cheerleader to beauty pageant winner to the center of one of the most shocking alleged murder-for-hire plots in recent memory. Her husband was a former NFL player. Her alleged boyfriend was a bartender in the Bahamas. And the evidence against her? Found completely by accident. Stay until the end, because the twist in how police discovered this plot changes everything about this case. Before there was a murder plot, there was a marriage. And to understand why this case captured the world's attention, it helps to know exactly who these 2 people were before everything fell apart. Lindsay Shiver grew up in Georgia. She was a cheerleader at Auburn University. She won the Miss Houston County pageant in 2005 and placed second in the National Peanut Festival pageant. By every outward measure, she looked like someone living the American dream. Her husband, Robert Shiver, was cut from the same cloth. He played football at Auburn alongside her college years, had a brief stint in the NFL, and the 2 built a life together that looked picture perfect from the outside. They had 3 sons. They owned a home in Alabama worth $2.5 million. They even had a second property, a vacation home in the Bahamas, on an exclusive private island called Baker's Bay Golf and Ocean Club. It was the kind of place where the very wealthy go to disappear from the world. But behind closed doors, the marriage was disintegrating. After 13 years together, Robert filed for divorce and listed one specific reason in the court documents: his wife's adulterous conduct. Lindsay filed her own paperwork shortly after. Her reason was simpler. She said she had run up debt she couldn't pay off. 2 different stories. 2 people who clearly despised each other by the time the lawyers got involved. So, by the summer of 2023, Lindsay and Robert Shiver weren't just a couple in trouble. They were 2 people locked in a legal war, fighting over their kids, their money, and the life they'd built. And the Bahamas vacation home they both still used? That's where everything exploded. On July 16, 2023, Robert and Lindsay were both at Baker's Bay in the Bahamas. Tensions were high. They were in the middle of a divorce and couldn't avoid each other. That night, Robert went to the resort bar. While he was there, he was spotted with another woman. Someone took photos. Those photos were sent directly to Lindsay. What happened next is what the entire trial hinges on. Lindsay was already in contact with a man named Terrance Bethel, a bartender at the resort, and allegedly her boyfriend during the marriage. After receiving those photos of Robert, Lindsay opened up a WhatsApp group chat. The chat included Terrance and his friend, a man named Faron Newbold, Jr. Into that chat, Lindsay typed 2 words. Just 2. Prosecutors say those words were a murder order. The defense says they were the cry of a furious, heartbroken woman venting in private to someone she trusted. Lindsay herself, when questioned by police, admitted she told Terrance she wanted to kill Robert, but she insisted the words were said out of anger and frustration, nothing more. Terrance Bethel gave his own side of the story in a television interview. He said Lindsay was simply upset. "Whenever she gets into an argument with him and she tells me about it, of course I'm livid about it," he said. "But planning to murder him? No." And Faron Newbold, the man prosecutors describe as the would-be hired hitman, has also pleaded not guilty. 3 people, 3 denials, 1 damning text message. The strange thing is, none of this might have ever come to light at all, because police weren't looking for a murder plot when they found it. They were looking for something else entirely. What are the odds that a robbery investigation at a beach bar leads to a murder-for-hire arrest? Apparently, pretty good, because that is exactly what happened here. Bahamian police were called to investigate a break-in at the very bar where Terrance Bethel worked. Suspecting it might be an inside job, investigators began looking through employees' phones. That search wasn't about murder. It wasn't about Lindsay. It was about a burglary. But when detectives scrolled through Terrance Bethel's WhatsApp, they found the group chat. They found the photos of Robert Shiver, and they found the message Lindsay allegedly sent. 5 days after that night at the bar, on July 21st, 2023, all three were arrested. Lindsay Shiver, Terrance Bethel, and Faron Newbold Jr. were each charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Each charge carries a maximum sentence of 60 years in a Bahamian prison. Robert Shiver was shown the messages by police. He told them he feared for his life. He cooperated fully with investigators, and within weeks of the arrest, he filed for divorce. Now, here's where the case took a turn that even the judge couldn't ignore. Lindsay and Terrance were initially granted bail. They were required to wear GPS ankle monitors and stay in the Bahamas. But instead of lying low, the two agreed to a sit-down television interview with Good Morning America, talking publicly about their innocence while the case was still pending. The judge was not pleased. She called it a blatant disregard for the court's leniency. Bail was revoked. Both Lindsay and Terrance were sent to Fox Hill Prison in Nassau to wait for trial. A Bahamian Court of Appeals upheld the bond revocation in December 2024. And so, Lindsay Shiver, former beauty queen, former NFL wife, mother of three, sat in Fox Hill Prison and waited. The trial had already been postponed 3 times. A fourth delay pushed it to March 2nd, 2026. But this time, it appears there's no more waiting. The trial is being held in Nassau at the Bahamian Supreme Court. All 3 defendants, Lindsay Shiver, Terrance Bethel, and Faron Newbold Jr., have pleaded not guilty. Each faces up to 60 years in prison if convicted. Meanwhile, Robert has moved on publicly. He has been linked romantically to Savannah Chrisley, a reality television personality. In late 2024, Savannah confirmed they were still together. The divorce, the new relationship, the public attention, all of it will be present in that courtroom, hovering over every piece of testimony. Here is what it all comes down to. 2 words found by accident. By police investigating a robbery at a beach bar. The prosecution says intent is intent. That putting a hitman's number in a group chat with photos of your husband says everything a jury needs to hear. The question is, how far does the law reach into the worst moment of someone's worst day? If this story had the jaw on the floor, drop a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people. Subscribe if real crime stories told this way are something worth coming back to. And share this one, because chances are, someone in the circle hasn't heard this story yet, and they absolutely need to. More cases coming. Stay tuned.